To the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. For the last few years, I've been featuring each fille du roi, or king's daughter, and getting to know their stories a little bit better. There are over 700 of them. We are now on episode 243. Come a long way. And before we begin today's episode, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and notify. All that helps my YouTube logarithms and all that good stuff. The next three are ways to help the channel grow. We have Coffee, which is a standalone platform where you can decide what you want to donate. We have Patreon, it's a monthly subscription. And then we also have my PayPal button on my Have Roots Will Travel website where you can donate what you would like. And also don't forget, on my website I have all of my previous episodes as well and an index to them. So have a look at that if that is something you would like. So let's get started and get to know our fille du roi of this episode. And so we come to our episode 243. Aimee Roux is her name. She is our fille du roi of this episode. She is a viewer request. I do have her in my files. One of my dear friends, her husband, who has French-Canadian ancestry, this is his great-grandmother as well. Let's get to know Aimee a little bit better. Aimee was born in 1649 in Montargis, France. Her parents were Jacques Roux and Marguerite Dubois. She is born in the region of France known as Centre-Val de Loire, and inside of that, her département or county is the county of Loire. And inside that, you can actually see on the bottom left of your screen the little black circle that I put in. That's actually her town. So there's about 14,000 people that live there. So it's no small chicken. Now, the church that she would have been baptized in is the Église de la Madeleine that dates from the 12th century. Montargis has maintained much of its medieval character. It's known as the Venice of France because it has so many waterways and canals. So you can see that in the city. During the time that Aimee would have lived, it was also known as a refuge for Huguenots, where the daughter of King Louis VII, her name was Renée, was given the town. Can you imagine being given a town? And she resided at Montargis and was there to help the Huguenots. Here's a little bit of trivia. Pralines were first made here in Montargis during the 16th century. The original shop is still in business on the Place Mirabeau, so you can actually visit it. So I love pralines. They don't love me, but I love pralines. So I was just fascinated by that, and I had to go, down a rabbit hole and find this particular. I'll put the link to the factory so you can have a look for those of you who love pralines as much as I do. After her father's death, she left for New France and brought with her a dowry worth about 150 pounds. She arrived on the Jean-Baptiste de Dieppe on June 18, 1665. Now, the groom that she selected and who selected her, his name was Aimard Thinon de Desroches et de Laurier. Can you imagine such a name? But that is his name. He was born in 1643 in Montenac, Charente, France. His parents were François Thinon and Marie Crespi. Now, there is some issue with possibly he was from another Montenac, but I'm going to go with this one. Why? Because I was able to access a particular website that I use, and it did state that this is the place where he came from. Now, the PDRH does put down Montenac-Charente and Montenac-le-Coq. So I'm going with this. I'm not going to give you as much information as I normally do because I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. But for me, I had the feeling that this is where he's from. Now, if he is indeed from this area, this is part of the region of Nouvelle-Aquitaine that you can see circled. And inside of that, he's from the Charente, which is why it's called Montenac-Charente district. The population is about 712. The Église Saint-Étienne dates from the 12th century. You can see it right there. And the castle that is part of that dates from the 10th century. The remains are still present in the commune. Arriving in New France, Aimee actually signed two other marriage contracts. The first one with a man named Vincent Verdon, and then François Fleury, who would go on to marry Jeanne Gilles, a fellow fille du roi. The third time's the charm. She finally married Aimee on February 6, 1670, at Saint-Augustin de Demarre. So that is where they were married. The tiny community of Saint-Augustin de Demarre is an interesting place because 17 filles du roi eventually settled here, which, is pretty for a small little place. I can't believe so many filles du roi. I think it was the proximity to Quebec, and it's a very charming community. In 1647, Georges Roux, the Lord of Mar, is given the seigneurie that includes this small village. By 1668, the territory begins to be occupied. It was then called de Mar. By 1671, a community mill was established at Lake Saint-Augustin by the son of the original lord, also named Jean Justereau de la Ferté. By 1685, Paul Augustin Justereau de Mar becomes the third seigneur of this community. The name of the parish most likely comes from his first name. In 1690, the establishment of this parish is recognized. Although there are no official documents that prove this date, it's the unofficial start of the parish. At this time, there were approximately only 200 people. And I want to draw your attention. This is taken from the website of the Genealogical Society of St. Augustine, and this is the red circle here on your left is the land that Aimee and Aimee would have had. So this is where she lived. This is in the middle is where St. Augustin de Demarre, and this is an older style picture of the St. Augustin de Demarre church. I was there this past summer, and it truly is a beautiful little village. It remains kind of untouched. And you must visit it if this is one. And the church and the cemetery are just fabulous. So please visit it if you get a chance. They would go on to have 8 children. Michel would die at 10 years of age. Geneviève would marry Jean-Pierre Junot and have 10 children, 8 of whom made it to adulthood. Charles would marry Marianne Bonaudot and have 7 children, 6 of whom would make it to adulthood. He then married Françoise de Mers and had 5 more children, all of whom made it to adulthood. François married Marie-Charlotte Côté and had 8 children, 7 of whom would make it to adulthood, 4 of whom would have descendants, and 2 of them would become nuns, and the other did not marry. Barthélemy would marry Anne-Félicite Castonguay, but did not have any descendants. Thérèse Elisabeth married Antoine Marié and had 5 children, 4 of whom made it to adulthood. Jeanne would pass away at 1 year of age. Jean-Ignace would marry Marguerite Amiotte and have 4 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. In the 1681 census that we have the snippet over here, we have Aimee Thinon, and we have Aimee. Oh, I love how they pronounce these, or they spell these. Then we have their children, Geneviève, Charles, François, Barthélemy, Thérèse. They own 1 cow and 6 arpents à valeur, about 4 acres of land. March 12, 1700, Aimé would pass away. He was 57 years of age, still early for even that period. They had been married 30 years. Amazing. Aimee would pass away December 28, 1715. She was 66 years old, which again is fairly young even for then, and would leave us with 95 descendants, of which my viewer is one. So I think it was a wonderful life. Here are some of the resources that I would recommend. La Société des Filles du Roi, of which I am a member and the membership chair. Even before I did all that, I would use this site as a resource. And then once I started really using it, I said, I want to be a member so I can dive into some of these journals and all of that. So definitely check that out. We have the Quebec Genealogical E-Society. We have Nos Origines. We have Wikitree. Filles du Roi Descendants Facebook page. Absolutely love that. We have Généalogie Québec, which is it's really the Ancestry.com for French Canadian research. And we have the Société d'Histoire des Filles du Roi. If you speak French, this is a fabulous website. And all of the links and addresses are in the notes section of this video. And so ends episode 243 of Aimee Roux. I love that name. She lived a life that was quiet and simple, and she was one of those pioneers at Saint Augustin de Damas, and you can tell by her story how she was stoic and just carried on and was able to maintain her life till the very end in a quiet, dignified way. There was no scandals. There were nothing extraordinary, but yet her survival was extraordinary. And we thank her for her contribution, and we are grateful that she came to our shores, and we bless her memory. I also want to say thank you to my patrons, supporters, and subscribers. You make what I do so worthwhile, and I appreciate each and every one of you for being there some of you from the very, very beginning, and I thank you so very much for your support. And with that being said, I will see you on episode 244. Until then, au revoir.